What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with that real boxing talk with the real thing. We with the boxing clinic at Dig. And breaking down the world title unification, lineal undisputed junior welterweight showdown. First undisputed showdown since Bernard Hopkins and Jermaine Taylor won. And hopefully we get a great fight just like that. A lot of people, like myself, thought this fight was a mismatch. So I actually turned on the film and did some film study on Julius Indongo, and I must apologize. This is going to be a great fight in my opinion. At least a good fight. I ain't going to say great, but I think it has a high potential of being a great fight more than people realize. And, I think this is going to be a good fight. And I know one of my subscribers told me a long time ago when this fight was first made that he thought Julius Indongo was going to win this fight. And now I see why. Now, to talk about Julius Indongo, he's almost 6 feet 5'10" and a half from Namibia, South Africa. They're known for having a large cheetah population, And I did some film study, and I'm very impressed with Julius Indongo. Let's start off talking about some strengths of both of these fighters. And strength about Julius Indongo, he does, literally when I say he does a lot of things well. And one of the things I start off with is the jab. His jab is very straight. It's a good jab. You got to have a jab when you're that tall as a fighter. And he has a great jab. I must say, he has great footwork as well. Used to be a football, soccer player, whatever side of the continent or globe you're on. Good footwork. And I know people who bounce in rhythm, like Floyd Mayweather said that, he started to be flat-footed so guys couldn't get a beat on his rhythm and couldn't time and make it a little bit harder. Indongo's a guy who fights with a rhythm. He bounced on his toes from round 1 to round 12. Legitimately doesn't get tired doing it, especially when he's controlling the pace. And he's able to hit and run at the same time. Like he used to hit and move, boom, 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 still bouncing, hit and move, jumping in, jumping out, going side to side. And that's the talent. That's probably that soccer, that football background, him able to have that good as footwork in boxing without having a large amateur, background. But, he does that well. He got a good 1-2 as well. He doesn't abuse the 1-2. He uses it very seldomly, but he got a good 1-2. I mean, straight from the jab, with the jab with the straight left hand. Good with that. Underrated body puncher. He's a committed body puncher. He's probably one of the top 10, 15, or at least top 20 body punchers in the game. When you're talking about committed to putting water in the basement, his straight left hand to the body can be a blessing or it could be a curse. I'm getting to that a little bit later. He throws hooks to the body, he shoots on to the body. He's committed to the body, and that's something that Terence Crawford has to look out for. Seldomly do you see guys that have as longer reach and a height advantage in most of his fights commit to the body like Julius Indongo. I think that's definitely a testament to his team and whoever schooled him on being a tall fighter and still committing to the body. Most guys that's tall like that in their divisions do not commit to the body. Look at the Klitschko brother, especially Vladimir Klitschko, hadn't probably threw a body shot in 20 years. But that's one thing he does well as well. And his patented, I don't know what to call it. It's like a left hook. He kind of throws it like a Danny Garcia left hook. But his is it's a hybrid left hook, overhand, left. It's funny how he throws. You have to see it on film. But it's effective. He'll bounce around. He'll throw it off the bounce. But when he knocked out the Truvansky dude, he sat down on the left hook. And that's why he was able to knock him out. It's not that Truvansky had a weak chin. It's the fact that Indongo, who's, pretty much green to the sport of boxing, basically learned there if he set down his punches like that more often, he can accumulate more knockouts. The power is there in Indongo's punches, trust me. It's the fact that he bounces on his toe and he hits a move that he doesn't generate his full potential of his power. If he set down his punches more often and picks and chooses spots to set down his punches, he probably have a lot more knockouts than his record would indicate. But those are a lot of things he does well, and he has a good right hook. According to the right, he's a southpaw. According with the right jab, he has an excellent right hook that generates just as much pop, almost as that left hand. And that's the thing to look for. And Terence Crawford, getting to his strengths. We've seen Terence Crawford a lot. A guy who survived a gunshot, a wound to the head, changed his life around, got signed. A guy that's tough. We know he's mentally, physically tough. Streets of Omaha. He got that tough background. Also, his jab. I think that's good to start off with. Fundamentally, his jab is excellent. Piercing, pumps like a piston, accurate. I think another thing about him, he's an accurate puncher. Very accurate. Seldomly do you see he wastes punches. He's going to score. When he throws and he's commits to a punch fully, he's going to score. Very committed, very accurate puncher. Punch variety, good uppercut, good right hook, good left hook. Whatever you need to throw, he can throw it. He dropped Postal with a right, with coming out with an orthodox stand. I think he dropped him with a right hook, then came back and dropped him with a left hook. I might be wrong on that. And in the 5th round, again, he can punch with either hand. He got pop in either hand in junior welterweight. And, he's definitely a problem in the footwork. He's able to be aggressive and plant and beat you down to a pulp like he did with Gamboa, like he did with Felix Diaz. He's also able to box and move like he did with Postal, pick his shots, shoot from angles. His ability to adjust. People say, oh, you can adjust, but do you have the ability to go along with adjust to fight in a different style? Can you be aggressive and adjust and know it's time to walk your opponent down? If you're down on points, you could be aggressive and make a push for the win, and try to get the win and try to get the knockout. Crawford most definitely can do that. He also can box and move. He also can fight in the mid-range as well. And only thing that I haven't really seen him committedly do is fight on the inside, and I don't think that's going to be an issue in this fight as well. It's not going to be an issue in this fight because I haven't seen a lot of Indongo. It's not a lot of tape on him, but I didn't see him fight one time on the inside with Ricky Burns. So that's not in his wheelhouse. And if Crawford can fight on the inside, that might be one of his advantages in this fight. But we haven't seen Crawford fight on the inside, and do that Andre Ward bully shit. But if he can, this will be the fight to kind of reveal that, to make it a short night or make it an easier night for Crawford. But to get into weaknesses, we'll start off with Terence Crawford. One of Crawford's weaknesses is defensively. A lot of people like, oh no, Crawford's the perfect fighter of all time. Not true, man. It's weaknesses. Watching the fight and then going back to break down film is two totally different fucking things in the sport. Any sport. Watching it live, you want to enjoy it. If you want to score the fight, let the commentators talking. You ain't the ability. Usually you don't want to rewind it and go back and see what happened. You got a couple of replays. Watch the film, you can rewind it, really hone in on the guy's strength or weakness. And one of Crawford's weaknesses, which I seen, immediately once I seen him fight at a little higher level, is the fact that he get popped with a lot of right hooks, a lot of overhand rights, hybrid overhand right and left hooks. Get popped with a lot of left overhand, left, hybrid left hooks, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He's a sucker for them. You can hit Crawford with them all day. And a lot of guys, like Felix Diaz, tagged him with him, but Crawford was able to establish the range again for Felix Diaz to fall short. Felix Diaz is like 5'5", but he was able to change ranges on Gamboa as well, so Gamboa wasn't able to tag him with those same shots, and that's how he made the adjustment on Gamboa. But in this fight, he won't have that advantage to get out of range and establish range and still be able to be effective. If he gets out of range with Julius Indongo, he might not be in offensive range anymore, unless he makes another boxing move and step over to another side and then step back in and score. He's not gonna be able to hit Indongo like he did Diaz from the outside and not have a response. Indongo was long enough to counter Crawford. Diaz and Gamboa wasn't. And another thing he does, once he gets on that rope, or you get him in a position where you in his chest or you in range to clock him, and sometimes when you throw that overhand right or that overhand left or that left hook or that right hook, Crawford's chin and his head to go straight up in the air. A lot of times he leaning and being slick, but if you get him right, he pulls straight back. Sometimes his chin goes straight in the air and he get clocked with those right and left hooks. Hank Lundy did it. Delorme did it. His chin goes straight up in the air. I'm trying to tell you, that's one of his weaknesses. And his team talking about, we know Crawford's weaknesses and we trying to strengthen it and trying to fix him. They better fix him. He got 3 motherfucking trainers on the fucking payroll, boxing coaches. They better fix that weaknesses, especially going into this fight. Because if Indongo sits down on some of those punches that, like the right hooks or overhand left hook, whatever you want to call it, that shit he throws, he can put Terence Crawford lights out. And I guarantee you that. His knockout might indicate it, but his film indicates a totally different thing. And a lot of guys go into survival mode, but that's only really weaknesses I see in Crawford game, and that could be fixed. Just with time and breaking down film and technique. Sometimes he carried that backhand a little bit low, him being a southpaw and an orthodox switch hitter. Sometimes he carried that backhand a lot low. It'd be right there on the chest. He has a tendency to drop it. But the Indongo weaknesses, the one glaring weakness I've seen in Julius Indongo, the one big weakness I've seen is the fact that Indongo loves to put that head and dip that head towards that backhand. He's a southpaw towards that left hand. His head will go, it'll dip to that way. I say about 80% of the time fighting, probably higher. I'm probably being nice. 80% of the time, Indongo's head always dips down to that left hand. You know, he'll jab and then he'll slide that hand to the left. If a boxing guy is able to pick off that jab, like Crawford can, and step over and even in the orthodox position and shoot that right down the middle, he can clock Julius Indongo. You know, Indongo hasn't seen a guy who's able to make those boxing moves in the ring before. I guarantee you that. On that type of elite level, elite fighters are able to pick up on that and make that move and get past your stick and get past your height and able to step over and hit you when you moving your head and sliding your head to the same time every time. They gonna see that and they probably seen it on film and they probably salivating at a chance to score off of that. But Indongo fighting guys that's inferior to his athletic ability or inferior to his boxing skills, able to get away with it. In this type of fight, he's not going to be able to get away with it. Also, another defensive problem with Julius Indongo, I see, he loves to throw the straight left hand to the body. And when he throws that straight left hand to the body, it's a good punch. He throws it from a range that guys can't hit him from because he's so long. But Crawford got some length and some boxing skills on him again. He drops his lead hand, his right hand, all the way down to his waist, leaving his head completely open for a right hook, a right uppercut, if Crawford's in that southpaw position. And it depends what position Crawford is at, but he's open for any variety of shot that a boxer is able to punch at. He's he's dipped down, shooting that left hand to the body, and just, he's just there. Even though he doesn't square up, he's just there open for an uppercut, anything. And I think he needs to be very cognitive of, that punch, because that punch can get him in a lot of trouble in a fight like this with Crawford, a guy that got dynamite in both hands. But going into the strategic part of the fight, as far as for Crawford, for the keys to win for Terence Crawford would be, take this guy's confidence away. He's highly confident, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't faced a lot of adversity before. Put him in a position where he has to, come out of his character. Even if that's jumping, coming out faster than Crawford is used to, making him feel like he doesn't belong in the same ring with you, outclassing him early and making him feel uncomfortable, making him feel doubt in his head. I think that is very important to get to this. Another key for Crawford to do as well is establish a distance that he's comfortable at. Like I said, if Crawford can fight inside like Ward does and grind the opponent down, I think that's to be the perfect game plan for Indongo. Seeing if Indongo, with a lack of amateur background, is able to fight on the inside and just dog him out and break him down and beat him down to a pulp and make him pretty much quit and give up on the inside. Because I'm pretty sure he's not well schooled on the inside. And I don't know if Crawford is well schooled on the inside. Well, every time I see him on the inside, he always holds and then spins out. So that might not be a great option for Crawford. But if he can, that might be the easiest route to win. But as far as what Crawford has shown, as far as his skill set, I think the battle with the jab is going to be very important. I think establishing a distance, making Indongo has showed the ability versus Ricky Burns to be the aggressor. He said he doesn't mind if guys come at him. He'd love for guys to come at him, but he doesn't mind being an aggressor. So you got to pick and choose which one he's weaker at. And if Crawford wants to come out and be aggressive and set the pace at a high pace, I think that's what to do. Indongo showed good stamina fighting at high paces, whatever, at his pace. But can you set the pace higher and hit him? He's usually able to sit back and not have to deal with any danger most of the fight, especially in the Ricky Burns fight. If Crawford's able to, score and create that doubt and set that pace high, put that doubt in his head, going back to the strategy number one, that's going to be a big issue. Also, finding the perfect range again. Can you make Indongo fight at the range that you can hit him at? You got a large height disadvantage. And this ain't the same with Victor Postal. Postal is a stiff, straight up and down, robotic, technical fighter. Indongo has some slick abilities to him, athletic abilities, good fight. I think it's very important to try to time Indongo while he bouncing and coming in and timing this guy. I think very important for Crawford. Punches are going to be, the jab is going to be number one. I think that uppercut is going to be another key punch for Crawford. I think that's going to be the punch that kind of really does it. With Indongo kind of leaning in, like I said, he leans towards that left hand. I think an uppercut or a straight right or straight left, depending on which way Crawford wants to lean, wants to fight in this fight. I think that's going to be very, very key. And the unknown is Indongo's chin, his toughness, and his stamina fighting at the pace you want to. If you set the pace higher than he's usually fighting at, and Indongo fights at a good pace, a good high pace. He's love to throw, but if you hitting him, that pace is going to drop down. He's usually at a distance where guys are not able to hit him. He usually fight at his pace. But if you hit him and you fighting at Crawford pace, he's getting tagged at will. That's going to be an issue. And for Indongo, what's very important for Indongo to do is establish the jab once again. Stay at that long range where Crawford is very loved at fighting smaller guys that's 5'5". This ain't the case. This guy's 5'11", almost 6 foot, 5'10" and a half. If he's able to fight at his range like Indongo does, Indongo is good at fighting at Indongo's range, long range, able to keep Crawford at the end of those punches, having Crawford trying to make chances to jump in and make boxing moves to jump in. And like I said, Crawford drops those hands, and if Indongo is able to slide to the right and then shoot that patented overhand left hybrid hook, that's going to be an issue for him. And the right hook for Indongo. Both of Indongo's strengths to the right and the left overhand hybrid hook is Crawford is a sucker for them. And I can see him, dropping Crawford in this fight or even knocking him out with those punches. If he sits down on him, I think hopefully in camp they're practicing on him sitting down. Also, another key for Julius Indongo is to be you. Consistently hit that body. Crawford has never been hit to the body so much. If you hit Crawford to the body, he's a guy who gets stronger during the fight. He's a workhouse bell, whatever you go. He works. He's like a good running back. Hand the ball off to him. The more you hand it off to him, the stronger he gets. And if you're able to put that water in the basement, put that body shots in there, you can slow Crawford down and make a name for yourself. But the jab and those hybrid hooks that he throws with the right and left hook, those are an opportunity for him to knock Crawford out. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I wouldn't be, I'm shocked that he did it. I'm not shocked. This guy, Julius Indongo, can really fight. But I think experience is going to be a key factor here. And Crawford breaking his confidence and put him in adverse situations where he hadn't been before. I think that's going to be the issue right there. And that's going to be the difference. I think Terence Crawford knocks this guy out in 11 rounds. I think he's going to step up the pace. He's going to adjust to Julius Indongo. He's going to take the fight to him. And I think it's going to be an epic classic on ESPN. Crawford by 11th round.